When did you first, as a person, as a leader, get interested in the issue of women's pay equity?
So I always have been interested in inclusion and ensuring that everybody has the right. I really believed and grew up thinking that education was the great equalizer, that if you could aspire to more and you could achieve more through education, the world is your oyster, proverbially so. But sadly, once you enter the workforce, you see sexism, harassment, and the like at every single level. And frankly, this is the first job in my career where I haven't faced overt harassment or sexism of some sort. And I saw it with my colleagues as well. And so while my entire career has not been built around the issues of pay equity or gender equity, it's been something that's been in my craw since the beginning, of knowing that I had to fight a little bit more and a little bit harder than my male colleagues, even when they were side by side with me.
Now, that's something that people can be trained to witness, I imagine, whether they're male or female. How do you do that kind of training so people can understand an issue that may be not so easy to grasp?
Yeah, I think for most is really being able to understand where where those biases and those barriers, they start way back in our early years. So, it's nothing wrong with implicit or unconscious bias. All of us have it. Back to the cave people, that's normal. But if you're allowing those biases to cloud your judgment or to make assumptions of human beings, that's where the real issue comes in. And so how to train that is really a matter of unveiling and admitting that we all have natural biases and discriminations in our body. Most of it is protectionism, to make sure we're safe and our families are safe. But so how to call that out in the workplace, how to call that out in our educational systems, how to call that out in society and communities, comes from base understanding of values and understanding of all human beings are capable of great things. And so how to eliminate that so you can make better decisions, take a pause on those biases, allows us to be better. I'll take it one step further, Steve, in that allyship has become a real topic that you're reading a lot about and hearing a lot about these days. And that's that idea that it doesn't just take women to be pushing these issues. It actually is incumbent on all of us, because this is about the economic security of families. This is about America itself, of why equity matters, in that women already have been achieving so much with educational degrees, and yet we're earning less, we're taking on more debt. Why? Why are we not working side by side with men in ways? So these things can be trained. It's about getting the facts out, and it's about ensuring that we're eliminating those biases up front.
When we were talking before, you said you were somewhat hopeful about the future of gender equity, and because of what you're seeing, because of the young women that you're meeting. What makes you hopeful?
So I've just had the benefit of doing some focus groups around the nation in a lot of red, blue, and purple parts of the country. And what was consistent in all of these is this idea that inclusion and intersectionality simply matter in every part of our lives.
You'll have to define intersectionality for some in the audience.
So inclusion, we understand. Diversity and inclusion, although we're still struggling with what these definitions mean. Intersectionality is also that idea that we have many, many different layers to who we are. So you're not just potentially a black female. You might be the first in your family to graduate from college. You may have grown up with a lower socioeconomic status, and we're all of these things, but intersectionality also deals with the oppression that so many human beings have dealt with for decades and decades and decades. But this idea, essentially for the millennials, Gen Y, Gen Z, are simply saying enough. They've grown up in this idea that the world is really becoming much more globally intersected, and that not only are they going to demand it of their employers, not just a value statement on the wall, on a placard, or in an employee handbook, but embedded in the culture. They're going to demand it of their employers, but they're also demanding it with their wallets. And so their consumerism is much more based around this idea of we're all in it together, and we want to see ourselves represented. We want to see what the United States actually looks like today, represented in every hall, in every workplace, in every part of society. And frankly, I didn't have that level of optimism with my own. I'm a Gen Xer, or of the baby boomers, of seeing that level. We complained about it. I mean, Gen Xers are famous for complaining about it, but we didn't do as much. We kind of accepted the paradigm. And where I'm excited by this is millennials and Gen Zers are saying, enough. The world has changed. Let's change with it.
All right, and finally, you're out here for some meetings, of course, and you go all around the country. What are you doing in California?
Yeah, So luckily, we've been doing some fantastic Empower leadership groups with women here to teach them some skills, both on negotiation, but on how to get invited to the table for leadership, how to understand what leadership in the 21st century is all about, what are those skills and assets that you need to add to your acumen so that you can be prepared for 21st century workforce.
All right, and how can people find out more about your organization?
Easily at aauw.org, and if you're interested in the negotiation courses, it's salary.aauw.org.
All right. Kim Churches, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.